What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Higurashi no Nakoroni, or Higurashi When They Cry. Well, apparently this is the title for this, the official title for this now is Higurashi When They Cry GOU. I saw a Twitter post before I even watched the episode explaining why it was called that, along with a new piece of visual art that kind of had me a little bit concerned because it has a character from Higurashi Kai on there, as well as Rika in her teenage form, which also had me concerned because that's also something that was that we only see at the end of Higurashi Kai. They basically explained that the go is the kanji for that means like what is that?
Remembering your past deeds or past self or something like that.
Yeah, and there are some things that we see in this episode that kind of seem to imply that there is that the characters can remember things that they did, some things they did before that they may have forgotten. That's all I can really say without like spoiling anything. Basically, like in this episode, we start off pretty much picking up where we left off in the last episode, and it kind of further expands on the scene we saw at the end of the first episode with Rika. We're basically like we see this other dimension, and Rika wakes up and she's talking to this other girl who's named Hanyu, we're not really sure what exactly they're talking about, but Hanyu is like basically telling her that that it might be possible to like get through that. What exactly was she talking about?
Well, she or someone with her like succeeded in one loop that they were trapped in, like on a
basis. So that's another thing that kind of also concerned me because the only way I can explain this is I will kind of have to spoil something which hasn't been revealed yet as of this series. Basically all these characters are stuck in a time loop, and whenever they die or whenever something bad happens, the loop restarts itself, and they're stuck in an infinite loop. Basically,
it's like ReZero.
Basically it's ReZero before ReZero.
Yeah, it's just the only difference is that most of these characters that restart the loop don't remember what they've done prior, to the other loop.
I'll have to spoil something else for this too, because people really do need context. Rika is the only one that can remember any of this. Rika is that, and that's like the context for the conversation she's having with Hanyu.
Yeah,
none of the other characters remember.
Yeah, this is going to complicate some things for pretty much for people that are new to the Higurashi
that's
series.
The thing I'm really concerned about. Like, I feel like if you're new, like you're going to be so confused as to like as to what's going on, because there are some other things in this episode too that make me believe. One of the other things is in the new ending they show Sadako's father, which is not actually shown to us. As far as I remember, at least it's been a while since I've seen the original series, but at least not until like season 2. So it makes me think that what they're going to do is they're like mixing elements together from Kai and from the first season, and that I feel like that's a huge mistake in my opinion, because the first season of the original series was supposed to be technically like the question arc of the visual novel, which the question arc is the mystery part of the story where we're pretty much in the dark on everything. We get answers to some things, but we're pretty much left, we don't know what's really going on. And we don't really get any answers as to what's going on until the answer arc, which is season 2. But it seems like for this, they're putting in elements from the answer arc into the question arc, which it would definitely complicate a lot of things, I think.
Yeah.
If it's not like properly explained.
Yeah.
And I really think it kind of ruins the mystery elements of the show.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I haven't watched the answer arc.
Yeah.
like that
No,
way back
no,
when.
no. Let me also preface too. I haven't read all the visual novels, so there could be things that this could be like closer to the visual novel, and maybe it's like trying to be more faithful to that. But I'm just going off of what I've seen from the original anime, and I know this was not in the first season of the original anime.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't the first time we've had animes like blend in like two different arcs into one story like this. Like, for example, Fate and Tsukihime have done this, and let's just say they didn't end up turning out as well as they did.
Yeah, I hope it's really just I guess the more optimistic way to look at this would be maybe they're going a new direction with the plot, and they're assuming you've seen the original series, and this could be a different take.
Well, I've talked about this last week's, wondering if like this is gonna cater to new viewers of the series, like for people that haven't watched like the original anime. But now, based on what's been going on here, now they're implying they're implying that you have to have had watched like the first two seasons of the original animes, like not to mention like how difficult it is these days to even go out and like try to grab a copy or even watch this through legal means.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I guess the more optimistic view of this would be that this is a different take, and they're going a new direction with the story, and they're doing something a little bit different. Maybe it's not just a blend of Kai and the first season. Well, maybe it is, but they're maybe going like I said, different direction with the story, and they're maybe doing different things. I guess that maybe would be the best way to look at this. But at the same time, like I said, if you haven't seen the original series, some of the things that are brought up in this episode is going to be really confusing. But I will have to preface that's mostly like the stuff we see like in pretty much like the very beginning of this episode, and kind of like it's sort of the end of the episode too, because like a majority of the episode is like slice of life shenanigans mostly, like the group just like playing the zombie tag game, and the only like semi-important stuff we really get. Oh yeah, we also kind of get more information on Tomitake, the photographer, and like what he's doing in Hinamizawa. But yeah, the only important bit really is like the festival part where they talk about what they do for the festival. And then, of course, the introduction of I forgot what her name is, the blonde woman.
Yeah, I forgot her name too. I mean, she was in the original anime. Is like
I will just say she's really important. Like I won't really say anything else, but yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to spoil that about the story too, because that we don't even know that until Kai.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she'll be back in the next episode, but
she will be.
But for right now, like you said, the majority of this episode was just mainly slice of life, with a few instances with some hints of where what's happening to like certain characters, like particularly Rena, who's been acting strangely at several points of the episode.
Yeah, we still get more of those like scenes where she just does the creepy face and then abruptly like cuts Keiichi off if he asks a question she doesn't like. We saw that with a few characters in the first episode, and we see it here again in episode 2.
Yeah, and well, okay, so the one thing that happened in the in this episode is Ren and Keiichi do go back to the dumpster to pick up that what was it, that Kenta doll that Rena wanted to get out. So so she hands Keiichi that machete that she was holding earlier, and then you see him like just trying to chop up that board in a similar fashion, the way he was bludgeoning his friends to death back in the first episode. And then in that instance, he remembers that one point, like I mentioned, like of him bludgeoning his friends to death, which which is
this is confusing because this is supposed to be a future event. He doesn't do this until like probably the end of the next episode, like if I remember correctly from the first season, like after the festival, and then like that's I think where we get to that part where he bludgeons them to death. So it's confusing how he would know this, like because like I mentioned, Rika's the only one that retains information about like stuff that happens in previous loops. This probably did happen in a previous loop, but it doesn't make any sense as to why Keiichi would remember it. This is one of the few, like, one thing that may make me kind of doubt that maybe this is just blending elements from Kai, because as far as I know, this does not happen in any of the original series where, like, any of the other characters, like, start to remember stuff that happened to them in the previous loops. Spade, I don't know if you saw the first season again recently, so you could correct me if I'm wrong on that, because I don't remember that happening with, at least in the first season or the second season.
Yeah, you
where
mean
they were just where like characters would remember stuff that happened to them.
I don't believe so, but one thing that I could assume that this could probably be a sequel series, if anything.
That's what I thought too. Because and the only other thing that makes me think that is what Hanyu said about them getting out of the loop already successfully, which also makes me wonder why they're going through it again. Like I maybe there's a reason for it, but that didn't make sense to me. But I mean, I don't know. Like I said, maybe there's a reason for it, but that made me.
I mean, it's possible. Like, you know, Rika's like, you know, once again like trying to go through the exact same loop again, only for them to like maybe they might end up being successful in getting out of it by the end of the series. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. It's really hard to say at this point. Like, I mean, like I said, they could be just going in a completely different direction with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's weird that, you know, that they decided to just change, like suddenly just announce that they're gonna end up changing the title of, well, actually just giving an extra title to this series, like switching it from new to GOU.
Yeah, because we don't actually get the reveal of the new title until like they show the new opening in this episode. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the new opening, by the way? Like I actually thought it was decent. Like I liked it. I'm pretty sure that's not Eiko Shinomiya from the original series.
It's definitely a new song made specifically for this series. I mean, I didn't think that they were gonna, you know, bring back the old song from the original series. I mean, it's a nice Easter egg, but it was obvious that they weren't gonna bring that back on a, you know, weekly basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the song was decent. I thought the way they did the opening was fitting. I like the opening animation, like the animation wise, it's really, really good. I think it was like kind of an opportunity for Studio Passion to show what they can do. So like specifically, I guess you like, for example, like just the running animation for Rika, and just when they were showing off some of the different characters. Mm-hmm. That all looked really good.
Well, speaking of animation, like the last ending scene with Rika doing her Shrine Maiden dance was like,
that was really good.
That was like the best one, best form of animation that I've seen, you know, in this entire series so far, because like they put a lot of effort into that, you know, dancing animation compared to like, you know, the entirety of the episode. So
yeah. So also I'm gonna make another speculation based on the opening too. That just because they put a lot of emphasis on Rika, I feel like if you remember, like the first season was mostly just Keiichi's perspective. I don't know. I have a feeling they're going to be switching between Keiichi's perspective in this and also Rika's, because we did see this in the beginning of this episode, and the opening seems to imply that they're going to be doing this probably for the rest of the season, which I'm gonna be honest concerns me, because Rika knows a lot of stuff that we don't know in the first season, and I really don't want her to reveal too much, because like I said, this should be more focused on the mystery, and I feel like if we switch to Rika's perspective, you know, we're going to basically have everything spoiled for us.
Mm-hmm. They said, if I remember correctly, I think they said they're planning on 24 episodes for this. So,
Okay.
if I were to guess, maybe it'll mostly be Keiichi's perspective for the first core. Then maybe they'll switch over to Rika's perspective, maybe on the second half. But I could be wrong, and this is just my guess.
I would have a problem with that too, because like as you know in the original series, they'd be cutting out a lot of stuff, that we get from Keiichi's perspective just in the first season from the original series.
I mean,
but again, that's also under the assumption that this is going to be mostly the same. They could also be changing the whole story. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's possible they might, make a drastic change that'll completely put it in a completely different direction than they did in the first or second season, or I don't know how it went, but
it was like 2 full seasons.
I see, but like I said, I didn't watch the second season, so I never had a chance to get around to that. But yeah, it's just it's interesting that they're like, now that they're, I don't know, supposedly they're going into this new direction with immediately revealing Rika like as being knowledgeable of everything that's happened before. So
and also revealing Hanyu is a really big deal too.
Mm-hmm.
Hanyu is not present at all in the first season, so the fact that they did that is really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even exaggerating. I was watching this episode at some parts with my mouth fucking wide open with like some of the stuff they decided to to do differently. I was like, that is a bold move. I don't know why they're doing that. I'm really curious now. Like, I mean, this is probably, I want to say, like, I'm not saying I like this more than ReZero, so I will say like I'm more excited, but also very cautiously optimistic about what they're doing with this anime so far. Just because of all these changes they're making, I'm not sure how to feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see, but after watching this episode, my assumption is this is probably a sequel series, in my opinion. Because
I mean, that might be the case. I guess that would be the big bombshell if they reveal that in one episode that this has all happened before, or maybe even like revealing that they did, like her just saying they successfully got out really makes me think that this could be a sequel series. Because if they'd already successfully gotten out of the loop, but at the same time, it's like it makes me question, why are they back in the loop again if they've already gotten out of it? So I don't know. So I guess we'll have to see.
I mean, it's possible like Rika was, or Hanyu was the one who told her like something happened in the future that allowed them to successfully get out of that loop in the first place. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see how this is going to play out in the next few episodes.
Yeah, I will say, like, I know how they successfully got out of it in the original series. So the only way in which it could be different is if the way they get out of it is ends up not being the same as in the original series. Is the only thing I can assume.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in the comments, because I will be reposting this on YouTube, because I know the first episode review did get quite a few views. Let me know what you guys think. Like, do you guys, if anybody is watching this and has read the visual novel, are they making like some huge changes, or is this like something from the visual novel that I just don't know about? Because I'm very curious about that now. But yeah, like I said, this is probably the most interesting of the recent like new seasonal anime that's come out recently, in my opinion, just because of what they're doing with it.
Yeah, I mean, the one good thing that I can take from this, that it's not going to be as predictable as it was as season 1, because
like I remember in the first episode you thought this was going to be like sort of a shot for shot like remake, and then
I mean, I didn't say like this entire season was going to be. Yeah, for the most part, it like this entire season is not going to be shot for shot. I mean, I did initially predict that the first episode was sort of shot for shot for like from the original, from the original season. But from what I can take from this is now this pretty much confirms that they are headed in a different direction. But the way they're doing this is a bit, well, no pun intended, questionable in some aspects, and on what elements that they're bringing in from past seasons, including the what was it, the Answer season, which I haven't watched yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would just recommend maybe like watch that at some point just so we have more context for what they're changing. But yeah. Oh, by the way, what did you? So they have the new ending too. I thought the new ending was decent. I actually like the way they did the art for the ending. I like the art style. I also think it fits with the tone of the series. Same with the opening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I definitely.
Those are both.
I think I liked it just as well. I believe, yeah, like you said, it does strike a good like tone for this series, like including some elements that like some slice of life elements before it, like you start feeling like this eerie dread like in the air.
I like that one image with Keiichi holding the bat too. That was pretty creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the calendar too, them just continuously showing the calendar. I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, yeah, I think that implies like, we already know what that means.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, like, it feels like, they're just counting down to the inevitable,
Yeah. But yeah, so like, I will say this was a decent episode, but like I've already mentioned, it introduces a lot of things that give me a lot of cause for concern. Unless I will say, like, it really depends on how they handle this and what direction they're going to be taking this series, because at this point, I really don't know. Like, when I first started this, I was under the assumption it would mostly be a remake of the original series, but with some differences. But at this point, it seems like they've already, like, in just a few brief scenes, they've changed quite a few things. But I mean, I guess you could say it still could be like mostly just a remake, but with some new things added. So it could either be that, or it could be like something completely new. But it's hard to say yet. But yeah, so I pretty much know what's going to be happening in the next episode, as you know. I've seen the original series, because there's still some characters they have yet to introduce, and I pretty much know how the next episode's going to play out. If you've seen the trailer, there are some scenes that are in the next episode. There's some things we still haven't seen yet. So, yeah. What did you think of this episode? Blue? Like overall? I was kind of surprised of where they're gonna take this story, because I mean, like, I'm actually glad that there are some surprises, but I'm a little bit concerned of like where it's going based on what you've told me. Yeah. Yeah, like I seriously think them showing Hanyu so soon is okay, so yeah, because season 1, it kind of revolves around the mystery of Oyashiro-sama, which Oyashiro-sama was like is basically the village deity.
Mm-hmm.
And then in season 2, I'm gonna have to spoil one other thing, because they already showed her, so I'm gonna have to spoil it. Hanyu is Oyashiro-sama, so I don't know. Like, I mean, unless they keep that a secret, which I guess they could, but. That's one of the reasons why it concerns me, because it was such a main, one of the major plot parts of season 1, and they've already just kind of showed that. So I don't know, unless they don't reveal that Oyashiro-sama and Hanyu are the same person,
mm-hmm.
Which is the only way in which I guess they could salvage that. I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see what's going to happen. In the next set of episodes, because we don't know where it's headed from this point on, considering that that now that they're finally going into a new direction with the show.
Yeah. I guess my main takeaway from this is I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. I still really like a lot of things about the new series, but at the same time, like I said, the changes they're making definitely give me some cause for concern. But like I said, we'll have to see how they handle it and where they're going to go with it. It's considering this is going to be a full season, it's too early to really like say for sure. Come to a definite conclusion on where they're going with it. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I guess that all being said, I'm really excited for Thursdays now because like I said, I really am curious what they're gonna do at this point. So I guess until next Thursday, we will see you all next time.